The gavel struck like a hammer, echoing through the courtroom. A decorated veteran, a man who had once stood fearless on foreign battlefields, now stood accused like a criminal. His medals and service records seemed invisible in that room. What mattered wasn't his courage, but the word of a crooked judge who had already decided his fate. He wasn't just sentenced. He was humiliated, shackled in front of strangers, his reputation torn apart, his honor dismissed as if it had no value. For the man who had bled for his country, it felt like betrayal by the very system he had sworn to defend. Before I go further, I want to ask you, from where in the world are you watching this? It's powerful to see people from every corner of the globe connect with stories about courage, honor, and justice. The veteran had given years of his life to service. 2 tours overseas, commendations for bravery, a bronze star that represented sacrifice most could barely imagine. He had carried wounded brothers off the battlefield. He had led missions under fire. He had earned respect where it mattered most, among those who served beside him. But inside that courtroom, none of it mattered. The judge ignored testimonies in his favor, pushed aside evidence, and treated him like an inconvenience. The air felt heavy, suffocating, as whispers spread through the gallery. Even the bailiffs shifted uncomfortably, as though they knew something wasn't right. But no one dared challenge the gavel, and so, in a matter of minutes, a decorated hero became an inmate. When the news broke, outrage followed. Veterans organizations across the country condemned the ruling. Social media exploded with disbelief. How could a man who defended his nation with honor be treated with such cruelty? Petitions were signed, rallies organized, and within hours, the case began climbing to higher courts. Normally, appeals take time, months, sometimes years. But this case wasn't just about one man. It was about whether the justice system could betray those who had given their lives to protect it. Behind closed doors, legal teams worked with urgency. Files were re-examined, testimonies rechecked, and hidden truths began to surface. Witnesses had been pressured. Evidence had been selectively ignored. Patterns of bias appeared, and at the center of it all was the same judge, a man with a history of bending the law for his own interests. The pressure grew too loud to ignore. Within a single day, the case reached the Supreme Court. The justices reviewed the details with meticulous care. They didn't see a criminal. They saw corruption, plain and undeniable. Their decision was unanimous. The conviction was overturned. Not in weeks, not in months, but within just 24 hours. The speed of the reversal sent a message louder than words. Injustice, when exposed, cannot stand. Back in his cell, the veteran sat quietly when the guards approached. He had endured worse on the battlefield, hunger, fear, exhaustion, but the weight of false accusation pressed heavier than any enemy fire. When the door opened, he expected another delay, another cruelty. Instead, he heard words that lifted the burden instantly. You're free to go. Stepping into the daylight, reporters swarmed around him. Cameras flashed. Microphones pressed forward. Yet he didn't shout. He didn't rage. Instead, he stood with the calm dignity of a man who had already fought battles far greater than this one. Justice, he said softly, is something you fight for everywhere, not just overseas, but here at home. The crooked judge's career ended in disgrace. His name became synonymous with betrayal of the robe he once wore. Meanwhile, the veteran's name spread far beyond the courthouse. He was no longer just a man wronged by the system. He became a symbol of resilience, proof that honor doesn't disappear because of one man's corruption. Communities across the nation celebrated the reversal. Veterans rallied behind him. Ordinary citizens who once ignored stories like these now paid attention, because his ordeal wasn't just about him. It was a reminder that justice can fail, but it can also rise again when good people refuse to stay silent. This wasn't just courtroom drama. It was a story about sacrifice, betrayal, and redemption. It was about a nation recognizing that its heroes cannot be discarded so easily, and it was about us, remembering that respect and justice are duties we owe not just to soldiers, but to one another, because sometimes the bravest battles are not fought on foreign soil. They are fought in silence, in courtrooms, in the struggle to make truth stronger than corruption. And when justice finally prevails, it reminds us all of one simple truth. Honor can be delayed, but it cannot be denied.